You ever have one of those days where you're sure, absolutely sure, you're finally catching a break, and then life sucker punches you right in the teeth? Yeah, that was me. Name's Frank Johnson, and the day I showed up at my brand new Lakeside ranch, the one I'd poured every last penny into, 3 trucks blocked my driveway and 3 strangers told me I owed 47 grand, or I'd lose it all. Hell of a welcome, huh? If you're listening for a story with a neat little bow on top, go grab some popcorn and buckle in, 'cause this isn't one of those. The story starts with a dirt road, sun slanting through pine trees, and a dream that cost me everything I had left after a divorce that, well, let's just say my ex got the beach house, and I got a couple boxes of regret. The ranch was supposed to be my second act, a chance to breathe, to start over. I'd done my homework, believe me. 3 months crawling through title histories, zoning laws, tax records. My hands still smell like courthouse archives. When I finally got that deed signed, sealed, notarized, I thought I was golden. But as I rolled up for the first time, there they were. 3 pickups, V-shaped blockade. The signs on their doors said Lakeview Estates HOA. And if you've ever met a real HOA, you know they don't show up in packs looking like they just walked off a true crime special. But I'm still naive at this point, right? Hopeful. So I get out, deed in hand, heart thumping. The woman in the navy vest, Christine Gray, HOA president, her name tag announced, marched up with a clipboard and the authority of someone who's been bossing people around since kindergarten. Flanked by Greg, the enforcement guy with arms like telephone poles, and Evelyn, who seemed to have practiced her disapproving stare in the mirror every morning. Christine didn't waste time. You bought the Morrison property? I nodded. There's a $47,000 lien for unpaid HOA assessments. You have 48 hours or we confiscate. That word, confiscate, set off alarm bells. Not foreclose. Not repossess. Confiscate, like they were the damn IRS. So I asked for documentation, lien records, county filings, the works. Christine's eyes flicked down to her clipboard. You'll get everything by email, she said, and I swear her lips curled just a little. Greg stepped up, trying to look like he belonged in a mob movie. Sir, I'm going to need you to vacate the premises. He called it my premises, but I had the deed. Take it up with the county, he shrugged. But for now, this is HOA-managed land. I could feel my blood start to boil. I pulled out my phone. Hey, if you ever get in a mess like this, document everything. And as soon as I raised it, Evelyn was in my face, palm up. No photographs. Private HOA matter. They were so coordinated, it was like watching a low-budget improv troupe. Still, part of me wondered, what if they were right? What if I'd missed something? I backed out, engines idling, their laughter echoing behind me. I drove straight to the closest motel, 6 miles and 3 regrets down the highway. Christine's email was already there. 3 attachments, a notice of lien, a demand letter from their legal counsel, and a page of HOA bylaws. I cracked a can of cheap motel beer and started reading. The notice of lien looked official, big headers, a fancy-looking seal, but no county stamp, no file number, nothing you'd need to actually enforce a lien. The demand letter was from Raymond Voss, ESQ, who, according to the letterhead, had all kinds of connections with the county and law enforcement, and who, by the way, demanded I wire $47,000 to an LLC called Arvos Holdings. Not Lakeview Estates HOA Trust. Not even an escrow account. Nope, straight to an LLC. So I did what anyone with a decent sense of paranoia would do. I Googled Raymond Voss. No state bar record. No real office. The address on the letterhead? A P.O. box at a shipping store next to a vape shop. The phone number? Generic voicemail, no name, no law firm. I was either being scammed, or my title company had made the blunder of the century. Or hell, maybe both. I called my title insurance, left a panicked message. Then I did what I do best, dug deeper. The bylaws were supposedly from 2012, but the county website showed Lakeview Estates wasn't recorded as a subdivision until 2014. So either the HOA had invented a time machine, or Christine and crew were getting creative with Microsoft Word. That's when the twist hit. I found a forum, tiny little thread from a few years back, where someone warned, be careful with the HOA near East Shore. They target foreclosures and bankruptcy sales, hit new owners with fake lien demands. Nobody fights back because they don't know the system. The post was anonymous, the only reply from an account that had been deleted. Someone, it seemed, didn't want the story told. Now I'm wide awake, wide-eyed, heart pounding. I start connecting dots. Christine, Greg, Evelyn, They weren't improvising, they were following a script. This was organized, repeatable, and I was just the latest mark. They'd picked me because I was new and outsider, no local ties, someone likely to fold under pressure. Next morning, I'm at the county recorder's office when the doors open. The clerk, a woman with reading glasses and a patience forged by years of answering the same 5 questions, walks me through everything. No lien. No HOA jurisdiction. The Morrison Ranch, my ranch, was outside the subdivision, legally and physically. 40 years older than Lakeview Estates, never part of any HOA, not now, not ever. Relief tasted sweet, but it came laced with fury. I got certified copies, called my title insurance, finally got confirmation, clean title, no encumbrances, policy valid. Christine and her gang were running a racket, and they were good at it. But defense wasn't enough. I wanted payback. I wanted to make sure I wasn't just protecting myself, but every other sucker who'd been run off by these people. So I tracked down Elena Ruiz, thanks to that old forum post. She'd bought a cabin at a tax auction, got hit with the same playbook, fake lien, threat, 48-hour deadline. She paid, more than 30 grand, and when the demands didn't stop, she finally gave up and sold the place at a loss. Christine's group bought it through a shell company. Elena still had every document, every wire receipt. She even agreed to testify if this went to court. She gave me another name, Howard Finch. Same story, same con, but Howard had fought back, hired a lawyer, but was convinced to settle quietly. It'll cost more to prosecute than you'll ever recover, his lawyer said. Howard had a file thicker than mine, with evidence of at least 5 victims. I realized I needed someone from the inside. That's when Derek Murphy appeared, a twist I hadn't seen coming. A text from an unknown number. I was on the HOA board before they pushed me out. I have documents. We met that night at Miller's Point Fishing Pier, sunset turning the lake to gold. Derek was jumpy, eyes darting, but he laid it out. Christine brought Raymond in as legal consultant, and the scam kicked into high gear. They targeted auction and foreclosure buyers, drafted fake documents, set up shell companies for the money. Greg and Evelyn? Just muscle. Raymond's the architect. He handed me a folder, internal emails, spreadsheets, escalation timelines. My name was on one thread, Christine plotting how to approach the new auction buyer. There was even a chart, victims, amounts demanded, paid, and outcomes. More than $300,000 stolen over 6 years. It was all so meticulously evil, it almost made me laugh. Why keep the evidence? I asked. Derek looked out at the water. Because I knew someday someone would need it. Now I had everything. Documents, recordings, witnesses, and a roadmap of the scam. Time to go to war. I filed complaints with the State Attorney General, Consumer Fraud Division. Showed the sheriff's office the threatening photo slipped under my motel door after meeting Elena. Deputy Martin took my case seriously. This is more than a billing dispute, she said. If you can get them to admit what they're doing, we'll move. So I called Christine. Told her the pressure was working. I wanted to settle, but needed to do it in payments. She took the bait, scheduled a meeting at my property. Bring a cashier's check, sign some paperwork, and you're free to go. I promised to be there. Deputy Martin would be parked down the road. I'd record everything. The next day, noon sharp, the same 3 trucks pulled up, plus a new sedan. Out stepped Raymond Voss, real-life legal pretender. He shook my hand, but his palm was damp. Christine handed me a folder, full of acknowledgement forms admitting HOA authority. I asked the questions I knew would force the truth. Raymond, can you show me exactly where my property falls under your CCNRs? Because the county records say otherwise. Raymond's jaw clenched. Legal boundaries can be complicated, he said. But what matters is who has the authority to enforce. And in this community, that's us. He stepped close, voice dropping. Paperwork doesn't matter when every neighbor thinks you're a fraud. Paperwork doesn't matter when you can't set foot on your property without our permission. I let that hang, then asked, quiet as a church mouse, so, you know my property isn't actually in your HOA, but you're demanding money anyway? The look on his face, priceless. Christine jumped in, but it was too late. I clicked the transmitter. Enrolled the sheriff's cruiser, lights flashing. The arrests went fast, Miranda rights, handcuffs, the works. Christine screamed about harassment. Evelyn sobbed. Greg stood silent. Raymond hissed at me as they loaded him into the cruiser. You have no idea who else is involved. This is bigger than us. You've made enemies you can't even see. For a minute, I just stood there, knees weak, staring at my open gate. The air smelled like pine and old paint and something else, maybe, just maybe, justice. They were charged with fraud, extortion, criminal impersonation. The state AG opened a full investigation. The forums that called me a scammer posted retractions. The motel offered me a free week. Nice, but no thanks. Elena and Howard got calls about restitution. Derek Murphy gave everything to the prosecutors. But Raymond's warning stuck with me. Turns out, the AG's office traced $90,000 to an out-of-state LLC owned by, who knows, shell companies, hidden beneficiaries, someone pulling the strings behind the curtain. The faces I'd fought were just the front. The real puppet master? Still out there. That night, as I sat on my porch, the lake gold in the dusk, the farmhouse creaking in the wind, I realized my victory was only partial. I'd cut off the head, but the roots ran deep. And that, I guess, is the moral no one wants to hear. When the system works, it works slowly, imperfectly, sometimes only after you risk everything to make it pay attention. The powerful hide behind paperwork, money, connections. But they can be beaten, if you dig, if you fight, if you don't back down when you're told to be quiet. But here's the real kicker. The bit I keep chewing on when sleep won't come. If someone tried to steal everything you worked for, would you risk your name, your safety, your sanity to fight back? Or would you, like so many before, just walk away and let the next sucker take your place? So tell me, where's the line for justice in your book? Is it worth blowing up your life to defend what's right, or is it smarter to cut your losses and run? Drop your story, your take, your moment of reckoning in the comments. Let's see where you stand.